Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Johnnie Torch Live. Second week in a row, we're going to try broadcasting a live stream. All right, so have you had a good, happy day? That's what we're going to start off with the discussion here. Get everything under control. Alrighty, okay. Let's take a look at the goodies I got this week in Free Comic Book Day. Let's see, I picked up a few free comics. We've got a preview here for Secret Empire going on. I honestly don't keep up with anything that's going on state of comics, so I don't know what to tell you there, how that's going to be. I got a free comic of Underdog. Yes, Underdog. And I couldn't pass that up. Some classic Fantastic Four. Well, not classic, but let's say stuff they were giving away for free. And let's see, some of the stuff I picked up that wasn't free at the comic book shop. A free issue of the Tick coming from Massachusetts. That's like a given. You got to have a free episode of the Tick every year. Stuff that I bought. Let's see. We got Batman 66 meets the Green Hornet. I don't know when this came out, but 66. I just had to get this when I saw it. Picked up Age Batman and Superman World's Finest, Volume 1, recounting the earliest Crusader and the Man of Tomorrow. Hefty volume here. I don't know how many pages this is, about 300 pages plus. Read. I've also got The Mighty Avengers, Volume 7. I'm a big fan of the Marvel Masterworks. I'd like to review some of these, because I did Spider-Man. I want to say Marvel Masterworks. I don't know. Fun review, and I meant to do more. I don't really... I mean, I read plenty, but I'm not the type that reads and wants to take notes, and I just want to read for the fun of it. When it comes to the television side of things, I take notes more often, which is something I did in preparation of this week's show. So we should be able to talk about this week. So, hope you enjoyed your free comic book day and took advantage of it. I don't think any stores are still going to be open now. Late night stores that have, that cater to late night shoppers. So let's take a look here. We have in store. Well, the Kentucky Derby ran today, the 143rd Kentucky Derby. I had Classic Empire for the win, but unfortunately he came in fourth. Prize, the main prize. I think that worked. We are going to talk about Gotham first in our look at this week in comic book television. Let's see if it worked out. All right, this week in Gotham, what was going on in Gotham this week? We found out a little more about what happened to the Penguin. Strange, kind of a bizarre situation there where it looks like he was shot in the abdomen, him, and managed to patch him up. She got her degree in medicine and surgery. Penguin seems no worse for wear. Extremely interesting, especially since Ivy has the brain of a 10-year-old still, if I remember correctly, unless they explain that and I just missed it. Kind of interesting how that worked out. Strange how Ivy seemed to be the Penguin so much, considering the Penguin came across as a psychopath, the psychopath that he is. developments there lead to change and bizarre, but this is Gotham for you, so. The Bruce Wayne stuff was a little bit more interesting, but I mean, we all knew at some point that he was going to start, and sages and whatever. But it was kind of strange to me. The sure reliving the night. I don't know. I would rather be seeing him learn how to be a detective or an escape artist or something like that. Maybe even learn some of his ninja skills or esoteric type stuff. So, you know, where that is going. I don't know if they're going to try to set him back up with. But yeah, interesting episode of Gotham. We'll stop and see what happens in the future. Gwen is going to want to get his revenge. We are going to girl. All right. So this was the one where Alex was in peril. Hasn't happened yet this season. I gotta say, the Alex and Maggie stuff is the bane of my existence. They have been pushing that story way too hard, and it has been driving me crazy. It was a better, it was a filler episode. It wasn't really, designed around. It was more designed around the horns of the dilemma, something that they usually put Superman in some of the better issues of Superman. Was always, centered around him trying to solve a problem without using his fists, or if brute force wasn't the answer, Superman to. And so that was a good premise. And I like the fact that they brought a story from last season, because they have all but forgotten everything that happened last season. They haven't really treated last season like it was relevant at all. I mean, pretty much forgot about Max Lord, forgot about Non. I think Non was alive at the end of the season. I'm not positive. With General Zod, spoiler alert, with General Zod coming at the season finale, maybe Non will come back into the storyline, either him or maybe the reason why Zod returns is because to check up on his old mate. Let's see. Then there was the Reina subplot, or whatever her name is on the show. I still don't remember. I don't know. It feels like they've got too many irons in the fire, and they just don't know what to do with them all. Oh, we've got Mon-El. We've got Cadmus. They've got now the General Zod storyline coming up. No, I don't know. It feels like they fell off the a little bit there. No, I'm hoping that they'll be able to pull it together by the end of the season. Feel more like it was a little more cohesive than the way they've been doing it all season long. More to say about that. Let's move on now to, let's see, The Flash. Let's see, supposed to see The Flash. Let's see what happened this week on The Flash. We had Killer Frost able to change the image. I don't think they're letting me change the image. I think I should just stick with just just doing it's not working for me. Supergirl here while I'm Flash. Yeah, the Flash, Killer Frost on the loose. Found out who Savitar was. Savitar, of course, was Barry of the future. We kind of said that was going to happen. At least that was the pervading theory. I kind of thought at the end that that's where they were going, and it worked out, pretty well. I kind of like the look of the tree with the face and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. A series like Supergirl, where the season off that great, and at least in the case of the Flash, I think it's built up for the season. They've gotten better. It seems to have tightened up a little bit more than it was in the beginning. know, Julian and all that stuff that was going on in the beginning. We thought Dr. Alchemy was going to be sort of a bigger was uh, case with Killer Frost, ice ramp that Iceman was made famous, and there was the subplot of Joe and Cecile, which was okay, a little repetitive, a little too much time with that. And that's just a preference for me, I suppose. Um, uh, HR and Tracy Brand. I could tell just by the first introduction to Tracy Brand that this was going to be HR's soulmate, and it looks like that's what they're going to do with it. Uh, you know, I think maybe in some ways this is the way they're going to write out HR, because I don't know, I don't know if HR is stick around. That's the tough thing. I don't know if he's going to stick around because to want to put a new version of Wells in every season. So I'm starting to think this is the way they're going to write him out. Completely missing in action. So yeah, that was interesting. The way that that's how he was the first speedster. Sure. I suppose. See, this is very complicated. That's what happens when you do time travel. I suppose he is the future than last week to come back and kill Iris because I don't know. Barry because he killed Iris, but then again, how did he kill and make himself evil if he was evil? It's confusing. I don't know. But it was a good episode. I think. Let me think. And Agents of Shield probably from my favorite episode of the week. Well, let's talk about Agents of Shield since I just made that segue. Agents of Shield. Now they're letting me change the. We'll see how that works. Wasn't too bad. Let's see. They had. Let's see. Okay, yeah, they finally escaped the framework. Interesting. Uh, this is really how you do the romance drama. I Arrow. I probably should have talked about Arrow first to try to show the comparison here. But this is the way you do relationship drama. The way they've been doing it with Fitz. Fitz was not going to make it out of the framework because he was just completely dedicated to the evil. Radcliffe redeeming himself, a villain this season. It was the book influenced him. So it was fitting that he be the one to. Fitz was just full there, shooting Simmons in the leg. Execute her? He probably would have. Well, of course, Gemma ended up killing his father. Well, the framework version of his father, which very identical to the real world here. And well, Fitz is going to be a mess now. It was very deliberate, debilitating to him to come out of the framework. You could tell. Then you have becoming human. I don't know how she managed it, but she managed it. Now she's got a full 2 episodes to be human. I wish they would have given her more time on that. We'll see what they can jam in episodes. Framework. I don't think he's going to stay for long. I don't think the season ends with him still in the framework because I'm going to convince him and back. He'll come out, I believe. Uh, the dust again. That was interesting. And very humorous the way he knew the situation. Then they kind of got that May Coulson shipper cult. They kind of leaned on that a little hard. But I pretty much like that. I kind of think of Phil and May as in colleagues. I don't really see them as being romantic. Way I won't care. I guess it doesn't bother me, but it's a little out of the ballpark for what I figured on them. All right, so let's go skipping over now back to Arrow. This was the dreaded Olicity pain that many of us feared but knew was inevitable. It kind of opened a lot of old wounds from last season where dumped him over the secret of William that he was keeping from her last year, and bringing it up again this year didn't really help the situation. They have tried to explain it away and Felicity more of a full reasons behind it, so it wouldn't sound quite as lame as it was sounding last season. But for me, uh, apologize for her part in Helix, which I thought was a good thing. A lot of people complained about that online, but I thought that was a good thing because this really isn't Felicity being, she was never really like that. Now, I've done a video, my rant, which you can find, which is as bad as all that. Detailing why I think Felicity works better in some ways than others. Some people just hate Felicity. I think Felicity's a good character as long as they don't fall into this of Felicity shipping. That's what brought down most of the last season strung down on that and can't pull themselves out. And to their credit, this season, the haven't been, you know, and they've been progressing the show without getting stuck the way they did in this episode. So, uh, we'll see how it goes from here. If they're going to get stuck back into that, or if they're going to just let this be, as I said, the year. The season has been better than average. I hope they don't line and ruin it. Uh, the supporting cast has been pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of Curtis, but he was pretty decent in this episode. Old drama for Diggle has been old. Uh, Diggle's incredible bicep saving the day. That was a pretty good action scene at the end. Scene that pretty much seen in the episode. We still don't have Oliver in costume. That's the thing that bums me out. I mentioned that last week. He's probably going to wear it next week because I think in the trailer for the next episode, I think he's wearing it. But fired an arrow, which is more than he did. Here now too. Got on the agenda Riverdale. Oh yes, Riverdale. What is going on here? Found out Who killed Jason Blossom? And who do you think it was? It was Blossom. Yes, his father, his old man, killed him. We really don't know why yet. They might string that out until next season. The last episode, maybe they'll tell us. I don't know. String out. We found Clifford strung out. He killed himself. That's right. That's another biggie. FP was trying to take the fall for him because he's afraid of the Blossom family. Shield Jughead. Kid looks like he gets 3 hours sleep a week. Even his bags have bags. Jughead, in the comics, he's always depicted as having like sleepy eyes. You never really see his pupils unless he's maybe looking at a hamburger or something. Really tried to, in the most vivid way possible, his sleepy eyes. He looks like he hasn't slept in weeks. Got the bombshell about the blossoms, that the Coopers are actually blossoms. Betty looked like she was completely disgusted by that fact. That was pretty funny. Yeah, well, exactly what happens next week before we put the final in this season. A very crazy season. And not much more to say about it than that. I thought last week's was better. Dig too much of this week. The Joaquin is leaving town, and he's probably the smartest person on the show because anybody that stays in Riverdale has slightly less crime than Gotham City at this point. It is the, capital, I think, of the US. And Archie's mom is leaving for Chicago again, so I suppose originally I thought maybe Jughead's mom was the killer because Jughead was trying to go back home because she's living in Toledo, I think. Is that what it was? And down entirely. No Jughead's mom on the show, no Jelly Bean. I think next season they ought to show Jughead's mom and Jelly Bean. I don't know. I still think Jelly Bean's probably a 13-year-old go-go dancer. You never know. I mean, we've got heroin addicts, we've got everything in Riverdale. So we'll just have to see what next season holds. Next week, I thought this week was the last season. I mean, I thought this week was the last episode of the season. We've got one more episode next week to see where this all goes before over. All right, so the way, if there is anybody watching, you can leave me a comment and let me know what episode of the week you thought was the best. Like I said, I am going to go with The Flash on this one, followed closely by Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think Flash has really than most of its contemporaries. And I think this is a very strong season for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll be very disappointed if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is canceled this season. Last season. Switch topics now to E. What do we have here, E, this week? Well, as I predicted, Bliss won the title back. This is she had the SmackDown title. She won the Raw title over in Payback. I called it because there's no way title. She's just on fire right now, Alexa Bliss. For good reason. I mean, she's second to none on the mic. Beautiful. She's got great wrestling skills. They would be crazy to not championship spot. We also have, let's see. Oh, and he won. He won in Payback. Like I said, he was going to lose because I thought that he probably wasn't going to wrestle again until. But he won the title back on Payback. Title, I remember the name of it now, unlike last week. he had to defend the title again for the third match, the rubber match, as I think it's called. Owens, to his credit, won clean, but ended up. I love when Kevin Owens goes nuts. There's nothing like it. And he just went nuts on poor. He dismantled him. Pop-up power bombs everywhere. He a folding chair and slammed it in post. That cruel so-and-so. Merciless. And so that is pretty much the end of Jericho for the foreseeable future. He will be back sooner rather than later, too. And The Miz is the only one that really should be holding the Intercontinental belt. The other guys should be a little bit, higher in prestige. Not to say that the Intercontinental belt is not prestigious. Becky Lynch. That was an exciting moment where Becky Lynch was being tempted villainesses SmackDown, but of course my gal Becky, she didn't, made it look like she was going to for a moment there, and hopefully this will lead to a good Becky Lynch because they have done nothing with her for the longest time. She's my favorite. Then we had Ellsworth. Ladies, they've got nothing else for him to do now that storyline with AJ Styles is over, which was a great storyline. That was funny stuff. So I don't mind him hanging around there in Valet. But maybe something will come of this now. I guess Charlotte's going to turn face. Well, maybe that's probably the best thing they can do for Charlotte now is turn her face because I am so sick of Charlotte. Personally, her. I don't want to see her getting the belt again. I don't want to see her challenge for the belt again. She needs to go away for a little while. Never been that enamored with Naomi either, so we can have a brief reign. It would probably do better to win the belt again, but I don't know who it's going to be if it isn't her. There's not really there in SmackDown beyond her, I don't think. What else is going on? Let's see. Bray Wyatt out there and a very interesting introduction he had to Kurt Angle. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. We also had, of course, Enzo Amore losing for the 57th consecutive time in a singles match. I want to push for Enzo and Cass, but they've been wrestling solo for the most part, off and on. And then we have the over on SmackDown, the tag team side. It's pretty exciting. They have Breezango getting a push. They are going to be challenging the Usos. That's pretty exciting. But there isn't really too many talented tag teams over on SmackDown, to be totally honest. There really isn't. The American Alpha, is sort of, you know, not really that exciting. And then you have the Ascension, which Demolition. I don't think they're ever going to be as good as Demolition was. Have been broken down now to the Vaudevillain, which that was a hilarious segment when we had completely devastated by, I don't know, ever since the Vaudevillains were broken up, Leaping Lanny Poffo of the modern WWE, but really hilarious. He ended up getting put on the list. Something to cry about. That's about it. We're gonna get into our final as we are about to wrap it up. Second annual show, second annual live broadcast. watching. Thank you for watching. I don't know if this is going to be a weekly event that I do all the time, especially with the hobbies are going to be going away for the summer. Once again, check out my website for The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, Episode 4. This is the episode where Carrot Top and Pencil Neck join forces to devious scheming intellect to try and take over the free world. How will they do it? My website, there is a free preview page where you will see the first 3 pages of the issue. If that isn't enough, you can order on the front page. We are now limited time going to be signing copies, gift, and it'll be a signed copy. Limited time only. Only the first 10 issues that are bought from will be autographed. That out. And once again, in case you missed the beginning of the program, I'll be talking about this more, I'm sure, in the future, but since it is news, we are going to let you know once again that Bullets Bourbon creator Johnnie Torch, that's myself, Expo 2017, October 21st and 22nd. It showcases the best in local indie comics. So if you're around the Boston area in October, check it out, and you'll be able to see what yours truly looks like. Yeah, I'm camera shy as of now, but just come October, and hopefully have a few goodies to give away. What's coming up next week before we finish up here? I am going to try to get my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and the movie on Tuesday, so you're going to have a bit of a wait. Probably I'll have that up like Thursday around the time that I usually have a Torch News Roundup. I'll probably have that up instead. But I'll probably try to get a Torch News Roundup episode going as well at the same time. I don't know. This is on that. Still working very hard on issue 5 of The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, so taking up some of my time as well. I can't spend all my time making videos. In my spare time, I try to make sure that both avenues are explored. Once again, thank you for being here. God love you for being here, because without you, we will see you back, like I said, for my Guardians of the Galaxy review, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 review. I already have a Guardians of the Galaxy review up, so if you haven't seen that one yet, you should check it out before you check out my review of the second film. This is Johnnie Torch reminding you once again, brightly, real soon.